My name is Diana Soto Olson, and I work at the Center for Public Service at Tulane University. It is a great honor to stand here in front of you at Dixon Concert Hall at Tulane in New Orleans, Bulbancha. And now to introduce Brian T. Edwards. Brian T. Edwards is a scholar, educator, and writer. He's Dean of the School of Liberal Arts and Professor of English at Tulane University, where he oversees 35 departments and programs in the social sciences, humanities, and fine and performing arts, including 60 undergraduate majors and 2,000 MA, MFA, and PhD programs. In his research, Edwards takes a global approach to thinking about America's place in the world. He has examined the ways in which cultural understanding and misunderstanding has framed global engagement with the Middle East and North Africa. In the US, as the US became a world power and to the present. Related to this work, he has pursued a rigorous investigation of how cultural objects and forms circulate globally during the digital age and what that means for politics. As a strong proponent of language learning and global education, Edwards is developing a vision for the future of the liberal arts for the next generation. This approach responds to the momentous cultural and political shifts brought about the digital age and the specific demands and experiences of the Generation Z, and seeks to prepare students for the careers and challenges of tomorrow. At Tulane, he has led a two-year initiative of anti-racism and the disciplines, which he has developed as a podcast to be released in early 2023. Please join me welcoming Brian Edwards.
Good morning. Buenos dias. First, we begin with the land acknowledgement, which Tulane has developed in consultation with Colleen Billiot and John Barbary, who are members of the United Homa and Tunica Biloxi nations, respectfully. We acknowledge and pay tribute to the original inhabitants of this land. The city of New Orleans is a continuation of an indigenous trade hub on the Mississippi River, known for thousands of years as Bulbancha. Native peoples have lived on this land since time immemorial, and the resilient voices of Native Americans remain an inseparable part of our local culture. With gratitude and honor, we acknowledge the indigenous nations that have lived and continue to thrive here. My name is Brian Edwards, as Deanna kindly introduced me, Dean of the School of Liberal Arts here at Tulane, and it is my special honor to welcome you to this remarkable plenary session and for 2 more days of our national gathering. I noticed coming up here, I live very close by, those big buses, and I felt the joy of visitors. It's a sign of it. I assume you came on them. Whether you are here from across the country or across town or you walked in here, we appreciate you making the trip to be with us here today. I would especially like to welcome the Imagining American Consortium, which continues its rich tradition of bringing people together to imagine and begin to enact more just and humane practices on our university campuses and in our communities. And that relationship is especially important to us here at Tulane. Imagining America is aligned with many of our efforts here at Tulane to become a more equitable, inclusive, and diverse campus, including the Anti-Racism in the Disciplines series that Deanna kindly plugged, which has actually been an ongoing initiative for the last 2 years of events, workshops, and speakers on campus, and we'll have a big symposium in the spring and get this podcast out, which one of our participants suggested for teaching purposes in 2023. Our university's strategy for tomorrow, which is a 5-year plan to enact equity, diversity, and anti-racism on campus, and much of our public programming here from the Center for the Gulf South, which is located in the School of Liberal Arts, the music department, the theater department, our Africana Studies program, our Newcomb Art Museum, Newcomb Institute, and the Small Center for Collaborative Design, just to name a few. And I know I've seen representatives from those entities here today. One of the best things about hosting this gathering is the way that it serves for us as an opportunity for our students, especially our graduate students and faculty, to develop closer relationships with local artists, organizers, colleagues from Xavier University here in New Orleans, and cultural organizations. Over the past 2.5 years, we have come together to help host 2 virtual Imagining America convenings, and I know, having been with you there, that we all are happy now to be able to be here together in person. I see smiles and nods. But we've learned a lot about how to get together virtually as well, and so we hope to continue some of those conversations in that way too. And this gathering we started planning for in February of 2020, when 63 artists, scholars, and culture bearers met at Cafe Reconcile to talk about what we could do together. So we're thrilled for all of that time and work that brought us here together today. Many of those 63 initial organizers are here with us today, and over the 2.5 years of incubation, many more have joined us at different times. And it is our sincere hope that those relationships that we have developed and deepened through those experiences will be the foundation for many more rich collaborations. I had one of those conversations this morning and showed the little cool thing where you can scan your LinkedIn profile to keep those conversations going. Teach anybody who wants to see that. But finally, I want to thank the presenters of this plenary session, which we're all excited for being with us here today, and in many ways, through art exhibits, service learning partnerships, and mentoring graduate students, to name just a few that are helping us to reshape our connections to the land, culture, people of the Gulf South. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Rosalind Johnson Smith. Rosalind Johnson Smith is the second child and the first daughter in a family of 12 children born and raised here in New Orleans, Louisiana. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education and special education, a Master of Education degree in learning disabilities, and a Doctor of Philosophy degree in educational administration, all awarded from the University of New Orleans. During a 32-year career in New Orleans' public education system, Dr. Smith taught elementary grades and special education classes, and for 22 years she was principal of Aretha Castle Haley Elementary School, a high-poverty, high-minority urban school. During her tenure, she was named the Louisiana Elementary Principal of the Year and recognized as a National Distinguished Principal. Dr. Smith's last position was that of Area Superintendent. We are proud that Dr. Smith is connected to Tulane University through her husband of 49 years, Dr. Felipe Smith, who retired from the Department of English in 2018, where his primary areas of scholarly interest included African American and African diaspora literature and culture. Her son, Gian G. Perspective Smith, a filmmaker and spoken word poet, matriculated at Tulane pre-Katrina, and her daughter, Professor Saya Smith, graduated with honors and currently works as the Associate Director of Experiential Learning and Public Interest Programs at Tulane Law School. That is a lot of Tulane interconnections. I was like, wow. She is also the proud grandmother of 2 members of the Young Guardians of the Flame Maroon Society, Wildman Nicholas and Princess Aria. Please join me in welcoming Rosalind Johnson Smith.
I know you can't see me behind this big podium. I know that. But it's because the podium is too tall. It's not because I'm too short. It is so good to see so many of you here early this morning like this. I'm retired, and this is an ad lib, but I need you to know I have 4 retirement rules, and the first one is no 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. But I'm here because this is a very special occasion. And very quickly, in about 5 minutes, I need to talk to you about African American history, New Orleans history, Tulane history, and the present and the future. Okay, yeah, it's going to be fast. Once upon a time, there were laws in the United States that prohibited enslaved people from learning to read, write, or even own a book. Many of you know that. The purpose of the laws was to keep the African Americans from escaping bondage by chaining their minds, not just their bodies. It was against the law for anyone to teach the enslaved and free people of color to read or write in some southern states, including Louisiana. But even without basic education, enslaved people depended on oral history to connect their past with the present. Narrative storytelling became a necessity to share the history, lives, and wisdom of our people. And so we call ourselves the Narratives from Crescent City Guardians Collective. In our New Orleans history, Louisiana had many neighborhoods that still maintained the traditions of gathering on front porches, steps, balconies, etc., to talk about happenings in the city. News and gossip were mixed with cultural information. Gathering places like Congo Square have been the spaces of wisdom for people of color since the days of slavery. Those of us who are the keepers of the flame of this knowledge see our charge as a spiritual and educational mission. In the old days, not too old, Mardi Gras was not for people of color. And in 1992, Dorothy Mae Taylor, who was on the city council, authored an ordinance demanding integration of parade groups that use city services. Some crews, some of the oldest crews, chose to shut down their parades rather than integrate their membership. We had to learn to make a space for ourselves when there was none. And that brings me to a history that is very interesting looking at this group, because Tulane, if you don't know, was the first university in the country to change from public to private. And Paul Tulane's full quote, which some of you may be familiar with because it's in your university literature, is that the donations he made were for the promotion and encouragement of intellectual, moral, and industrial education. And originally, I'm told it said of young men, but somebody tapped him on the shoulder and he changed that to of white young persons, so that many of the women who we see now were able to have history. And it opened the door for women to be educated also. And that brings us to, well, you heard my history. How'd all of that happen? It took a while. And there's a saying that people have that when there's no space for you, you have to make a space for yourself. We're very happy that the people who are in charge of Tulane University have now made a space like us being here today with you. That took some doing. Africana Studies came to Tulane in about the early 1990s, and I remember Francis Dodo and my husband, Felipe Smith, who was in English, Francis was in sociology, gathered affiliated and joint faculty to create African Studies and Diaspora programs. Some of these people are still walking your campus. So at the risk of leaving out a lot of people, I have to name some who I saw here when they were young professors coming in, who were nurtured and mentored, but they're still out there among you. So if you want some real history, look them up and talk to them. Laura Roseanne Adderley, who's in the history department. And I'll have to say, Roseanne is a friend of everybody in my family, okay, separately. Michael Cunningham, who is in psychology and linguistics. Adeline Mesquire from anthropology. I saw Matt Sakakini in music here the other day when we were visiting. Christopher Dunn, who is Spanish and Portuguese, and some of you may know them. And lastly, Nagana Lewis, who is in the English department. They have been around for many years. According to the present notations I have, the goal of our Crescent City Guardians Collective is to share some of our cultural knowledge with the audience members today, This performance gives spectators an opportunity to get a close-up view of the way intimate knowledge is passed from family to family and from neighborhood to neighborhood in a system that is unique to New Orleans. Cultural art expressions are not spectator events. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have your dancing shoes on and your singing voice, okay? We expect you to participate and celebrate. But the groups do have rules of behavior for the public, and some of the rules will be shared with you today. So, are you going to sing along when our group enters Dixon Hall? Yes. Okay, somebody over here is Stephanie gets a prize because I heard her loud and clear. Okay, we encourage audience members to sing I'll Fly Away or any other familiar chants that come in. In the future, the stories told by the curators on this stage today, they're true events about their past lives. The anecdotes from their present times come from uptown, downtown, back of town, all over town, with few degrees of separation between them. We believe knowledge is power. We expect you to think about what you hear on stage. Imagine a different America, a different New Orleans. We encourage you to talk about what you learned today in your futures. We are the guardians of the flame. Take it away, Mosey.
Before we begin, I just want to give you a little context for the tradition known as Black Masking Indians or Mardi Gras Indians. I'm going to tell you what my daddy told me. My daddy was the big chief of the Guardians of the Flame. He originated that group, but he began in this tradition in 1949. And he said, this tradition is an homage to the mutual struggle of people who were here, they weren't discovered, and people of African descent to experience freedom in America. A country built on the ideals of freedom, so willing to take freedom from other human beings. Freedom of spiritual practices, freedom of culinary practices, ways of dressing, freedom of movement, but most horrific, they were willing to take freedom over your body from you. So this is a tradition, as my mother says, she's right there, where you can, you can experience freedom, you can be self-actualized, and you determine what's pretty, what's appropriate, and it is definitely a tradition of resistance. Now, with that said, we're gonna get on with the show. I'm gonna let y'all know I'm an affirmed drama queen. I acknowledge that. I'm a former second and third grade teacher, so I may be checking for comprehension. Be ready if I call on you. So, as they said, we're the Guardians of the Flame collective. So we have members from all different groups, but we all guard the flame of the African American experience in this city and ways of experiencing freedom and bringing beauty to our community through rituals, through history, through education, and through having big, big fun. Okay. I'm so,
Oh, that's not your comment. We're going to sit right here.
okay,
For that.
okay. We will be doing some stage sets during the, set changes during this show. Y'all just keep up, keep up. So our performance, I want to first of all say that it is dedicated to the memory of John O'Neill, who, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. John said I was a free Southern theater baby, and he always would tell the story that I was crawling around on the floor, but that wasn't me because I was like 7 or 8. That was my little cousin Valerie probably, because we certainly hope I wasn't crawling around. Because John embraced, we used the story circle, and John embraced art as advocacy and activism, and that's one of the things that we try to do. And we also want to honor Sylvester Francis, who started the Backstreet Cultural Museum. Ashe. You know, in New Orleans, we're unique, so everybody's gonna have a different kind of life celebration. But, so, you know, for my life celebration, everybody gotta wear red. And, you know, when we had our chief pass, we had root beer. So everybody has something different, because that's what we do. We don't want to do the same thing. But what Sylvester did was so important. All Souls Day is celebrated in New Orleans. It was once a Catholic city. We won't get into the history of that. But anyway, he had a procession, and everyone could participate and honor their ancestor. So it was a way that we could still be ourselves, but come together as one with this community procession. So that is what you will be taking part in, and that is what we honor Sylvester for, his vision in creating such a celebration. Now, this tradition is based on intergenerational teaching and learning. And one of the ways we pass it on is through direct contact and personal history. So we're going to ask Dr. Smith, Rosalind, Aria's grandmother, to come up and share a little bit with us about her grandchildren.
I love when Sharice tells the story about her father and her mother and the generations that they've had in this tradition. I don't have any such thing. My father loved the Mardi Gras Indians. My mother was afraid of them because you always heard stories that they would drink or fight or things like that. And they did make a lot of visits to their favorite watering holes when they were parading, but nobody messed up a beautiful suit. My dad would tell my mother, and I think it's the only lie I ever remember him telling her, but he would tell her he was taking us to Mardi Gras parades. We never saw the first float. We didn't see any costumes. The only beads we saw were the broken ones on the ground that people fought over and left for trash. But we did see Shakespeare Park, way up in the top of the bleachers, where it was safe for him to bring his little kids. And we saw the beautiful Indian suits, the colors, we heard the singing, we saw the dancing. We ate our hot peanuts and we went home. He loved it. And I think if he were alive today, he'd be sitting right there next to Queen Reese's mother, Reese, because they were friends. And we were not connected back then. That's New Orleans for you, though. They worked in the post office together. And she can tell me stories about myself that he told all of his workers. So I was excited about it a bit, but Sharice would have her father to come and see us at the school. He taught about civil rights, African American history, lots of things. And sometimes he taught about the Indians and about the masking and what everything meant. I listened to that, and then one day it just hit me like a lightning bolt. I wanted it for my family. I wanted it for my grandson, who was not 2 years old yet, but I didn't know you were supposed to be 2. And we asked if we could join. He did. This is actually about his 3rd suit, because I have 10 suits for my grandson, who's about to be 12, and 10 suits for Aria, who just made his 9 and a half. We've enjoyed being a part of it. And now, because we've gone through the history, we are here. Dilliam is in the back wandering about, but that's
He's the
he's
CEO.
he's allowed to do what he does. Okay, so don't get upset. His mom's here to be for safety reasons only, but he'll be up next. So, I want to ask Aria a couple of questions here. Okay, Aria, are you a real princess, like Cinderella and such?
No.
Okay. So you're not a real princess.
No, I'm a real princess, but I just got chosen by the Indians.
So what does this is what the Indian moms do. Okay. They keep their kids from falling off the edge of the stage. Okay, so what exactly does an Indian princess do?
I like this part. Okay. Sing, dance, and look pretty.
Oh, okay. So looking pretty, well, that's easy. Can you show me, how do you dance? Show me something. Give me a move. All right, good. Okay, so that's two of the things. And I want to see one more. As a matter of fact, can you sing something for us today? Oh, but wait, before you sing, tell me, did you make this suit?
No. I didn't. I stoned my boots. I picked the design. These are my stone boots. They're pretty. I picked the theme and the colors. Yes, that's what.
What's the theme of this suit?
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna tell a short story. This is my favorite part. So, we were thinking up themes one day, and I was like, what about this? What about that? And Grandma's like, no, 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 no. And so, I thought about gems, and she still said no, and Mardi Gras, but that was stupid. And then we heard there was a parade. So, I mean, who would miss a parade? So I was like, let's go. And we just went to the parade, and we found out that every single float had a different gem. And I said, see? See? So, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask the young men to bring those signs over. They're going to help with this last part. Don't show the words yet. Yes. Come on up. Okay, Aria is going to sing a very special song. And turn it around, Mosey. That's good. Go on the other side of him, baby. And these young men have signs with the lyrics. Aria's going to sing the song, but you can also participate.
We are the children of the ones who did not die. We are the children of the people who could fly. And we are the children of the ones who persevere. We are fearless, we are strong, and we're ready to carry on. Join me! We are the children of the ones who did not die. We are the children of the people who could fly. And we are the children of the ones who persevere. We are fearless, we are strong, and we're ready to carry on.
Now, Aria, do it one more time because I told you I was a teacher and I did not hear you. I want to hear you this time. Sing loud and proudly.
We are the children of the ones who did not die. We are the children of the people who could fly. And we are the children of the ones who persevere. We are fearless, we are strong, and we're ready to carry on.
That's better. Thank you, and give yourselves a round of applause. Now, as people of African descent who have been severed from their ancestral homeland, I often tell people every stitch I make, every bead I attach, and every stone I embellish my suit with is my way of recreating my umbilical cord back to my motherland. And it's very meditative. You figure life out, and you get to know who and whose you are. And we are definitely children of Africa. What our traditions and culture could not be beaten out of us or bred out of us. We remembered in our deep places, in the very marrow of our bones. Now, that being said, we also recreate rites of passage, initiation, and other rituals. And so we're going to ask Dr. Frazier, Denise Dellingham's mom, to come up and tell you a little bit about her experience with her son entering the tradition.
Good morning. My name is Denise, otherwise known as Delium's First Aid, walking first aid kit. I just want to tell the story of how...
Did you hear that?
Thank you, sidekick. Of how Delium got initiated into the Guardians of the Flame. He was only 2 months old. This is from the great African tradition of call and response. We went to the Guardians Institute to visit Queen Cherise Harrison, Mrs. Harrison, who I'm very happy is here. Yeah. To participate in this beautiful tradition. So Delium, I wasn't even expecting Delium to be initiated. Did you know you were going to be initiated? Maybe he knew on a level. Uh-oh, uh-oh. It's getting real today. Thank you for bringing your kids.
Keeping it real, baby.
And he was passed around to everyone in the community. Chief Delco, Queen.
Yes.
Princess Aria, everyone got a chance to hold him, and the last person to hold him was Mrs. Harrison, who held him up in the air, like in Roots, Kizzy from Roots, or maybe another reference would be Simba from The Lion King, for a different generation, and it was one of the most beautiful, welcoming unexpected experiences that I ever had, and he's been masking for 3 years now. So we are happy to say that, and this past Mardi Gras, he actually walked in front of a queen, which was a big surprise. So we look forward to continuing to be a part of this beautiful tradition of solidarity between indigenous and African-descended people with the Maroons. So
After my mother convinced me that writing was one of my voices. And so I write essays. And after Carnival, I wrote an essay, You Can't Practice for Perfection, because Delium did his thing. Because of COVID, he wasn't around us. We weren't able to practice, but it was as though the spirit of my father just jumped into him, and you would have thought that we rehearsed for months because he just knew what he was supposed to do. He did it with such authority and warriorship and bravery that we were all very, very touched. And so when we walked through the neighborhood, we sang our song, Guardians, Here They Come. And he definitely let them know, Guardians, here they come. Now you can get up and you can dance in place, or chair dance. We're not able to do all of the songs, but one of the songs is also Hutane, which my father told us, and we also have to say where we learned stuff from, means to wake up the neighborhood. So, if y'all want to bring us to your university, we'll give y'all a full show. So, what looks like chaos is actually very organized.
Hello, my name is Alphonse Fitzhannah, the fourth. I'm the spy boy of the Golden Blaze. And see, the spy boys, see what we are, we the eyes and the ears of the tribe. See, if we look at the tribe as a one unit, we think of tribe, the word tribe, family. One unit, the tribe. I'm the spy boy, I'm in the front. I might be blocks away from my next Indian behind me. But see, I'm the eyes, I'm looking, I'm searching, I'm looking for the next tribe, I'm looking for feathers. And see what I see? When I see some feathers, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna shoot a signal, maybe to the Indian, the block back, that's the flag boy. See, the flag boy, he got a big pretty suit with a big pretty flag. See, what he do, his job, he pretty much the nervous system of the tribe. He carried a message from the front to the back, to the front to the back. See, I shoot a signal, the flag boy catch the signal, shoot it back to the big chief. See, but next to the big chief, see, that's the pretty big queen. See what she is? The pretty big queen? The pretty big queen? Our pretty big queen, see what she is? She the mother of the tribe. See what she is? She's the glue, she the organizer, and she the one that keep us responsible. I understand, yeah, we need help sometimes.
Yes, you do.
And she in charge of the children and women of the tribe to help them grow. And see, what's going on in front of her? See the big queen. So we got a wild man. Wild man got horns. He look like something from Halloween. He got a face of a devil. But he coming around, he running around, he wild. He looking, jumping, all that chaos. But see what it is? What really is, he's the organizer. When we walking up the street, he keeps the crowd out the way. Because imagine, you standing there, see some pretty feathers, and then you see some wild animal with some horns running towards you, you'll get out the way.
Yes, he's security for the group.
Yes,
He's
that's
the bouncer.
And see, he opening the hole for the big queen, and right next to the big queen, that's the pretty big chief.
And you'll know the big chief because, as he says, that's the pretty one. And you'll often hear us singing and him singing about himself. One of the most common songs they sing is Golden Crown. And before Chief starts that, I need my timekeepers to keep me aware of the time because, y'all, we could go on all day about this.
Say Mardi Gras morning, here we come. Tell 'em I am the chief of the Indians.
We got the big chief golden crown.
Oh, he go the crown, he go the crown.
Golden crown, golden crown.
Here was 36 digits above that ground.
We got the big chief golden crown.
Oh, the spy went to running on Mardi Gras Day.
Golden crown, golden crown.
Said chief called the city and went the other week.
Look at the big chief golden crown.
Oh, the wild go to running and he running wild.
Golden crown.
Pay me big chief, they better know how.
Look at the big chief golden crown.
Thank you,
Oh, he
Chief.
go the crown, he go the crown. Oh, Mardi Gras morning, they won't bow down. Well, I told my mother before I left home, I'ma meet everybody and I'm coming back home. Counterfeit.
Aaron, don't go anywhere, because you were asking, and don't get all excited, because you get excited when you talk about this. Just tell the people, y'all, he gonna get excited. Tell them about people taking your picture. Oh my goodness. Y'all prepare. Put your seatbelts on. Please put your seatbelts on. Stephanie said he could tell it like he tell it, so you're gonna tell it like he tell it.
I gotta take my drum off for this one.
Keep it short.
Yeah. I guess I'm a classify this as I say gentrified dwellers, okay? As we out there parading, doing our processions, say for instance Mardi Gras Day, burying one of our ancestors who's gone by. We got these gentrified dwellers with their fancy cameras and lenses infiltrating our parades and our funeral processions without permission. It's disrespectful. We don't allow that. We don't like it. And we want it to stop. Now, and mind you, we also have minors out there parading with us. In order for you to take those mindless pictures, you need permission. Okay? To take that picture, the video of them, you need permission from us. It's okay that you ask. But if you dwell behind and then you hurry up and come get a close picture, and all of a sudden we see it on somebody's window in their business establishment, and they're selling it for a profit, and we don't know about it. It's okay if y'all ask us. If you can make a profit out of it, we want to cut too. But you gotta ask. Okay, if not, it's disrespectful. And for the ones who don't wanna abide by our rules and our sacred traditions, this is what we want y'all to do. Get the hell out of the way!
So y'all get it. Y'all get it. So we're gonna do this, and we're condensing now. We're gonna have Kevin, Big Chief Kevin, and I want you to listen to him because he's gonna sing a song in honor of my father, and he's what we call a griot. He's going to, it's narrative. He's gonna say a few things, maybe 3 or 4, and we're gonna give you a little bit of the song. And I want you to know, you may have heard this song as Indian Red. We no longer sing it like that because that is offensive. And no matter how much something is tradition, sometimes you have to just move with the times. And we have moved with the times, and we sing Guarding the Flame.
Mighty crucify you. The flame.
Oh, we got as a flag. Mighty codify you. Guardians of flame, we the guardians of a nation. This whole wide creation we won't bow down, not on that ground, because I love to hear you call.
Now listen to him talk about my father. Listen.
Say on Mardi Gras morning, y'all, we talking about an old-time big chief from back in the day. Say his name was Donald Harrison, y'all, and he had Indian ways. When they wrote Indian Red, they should have put his name on the side of it. We talking about a great big chief, y'all, who never got tired of it. Big chief like shallow water, y'all say that's his song. And he said, Big Chief, I make mighty cool to fire before I leave my home. Oh, we talking about Big Chief. Big Chief. Big Chief of a nation. Whole wide creation, he won't bow down. Not on that ground. Because I love being the keeper, the gardener, the flag.
Let's give it up for the chief.
Oh, Jackie Murphy. Thank y'all.
Again, the band has to get to a funeral, so we're kind of condensing stuff. If y'all want to see the whole show, bring us to your university. Y'all got a whole year to raise money. But we're going to ask, I'm looking for Chief Edward. Big Chief Edward, are you in the house, Big Chief? So, Big Chief, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How y'all doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
So, what you doing today? You the, I know you're the big.
Well, I'm the big chief of the Uptown Warriors. Also, I'm the head band director. At
You a
PIA
band director?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh wow, I didn't know this. Go ahead.
Yeah. Also, I be DJing and working for my mother.
I know about DJing. Yeah, I know about that one.
Working for my mother, you know.
Yeah, that's my honorable son number 3.
And also second line. And
I know about the second line.
November 6th, our club, we are one parading, and I teach music during the day. Also,
How your baby doing? How your children and them?
father 3, married 3 years, happily married 3 years.
Samantha, he loved her. Edward and Samantha was kissing in the tree.
Oh,
All right.
That's enough, Mom. Oh, and also I play music in church on Sundays. So.
All right. Well, thank you for your telling us about you. And I know you and Mosey, I don't know what y'all got to do.
What?
Uh-oh. Whenever they plan something, again, put your seatbelts on. So our last speaker for this presentation is going to be Dr. Freddie Hill. Dr. Hill was a professor at Dillard University, but she's also a cultural does cultural documentation of our traditions. And as a teacher and as a maternal figure, she's also has a unique view on some of the things that happens within the traditions.
Thank you, and good morning. And I'm pleased to join you today, and like many of you, I worry about America and the global society. And what I have found through my participation in the cultural community, the Mardi Gras Indians, Black Masking Indians, Social Aid and Pleasure Club, Baby Doll processions, I found a lot of joy. And that joy has opened opportunities for me to see possibilities to effect positive social change. And so while we celebrate, and as Big Queen said, sometimes it seems chaotic, we are also creating spaces for joy, for thoughtful, active, engaged social change and resistance. And so as you leave here today, I hope that you will think about the ways in which our traditions, our cultural traditions, opens avenues for positive social change. Thank you.
Before the grand finale, I just want to say, and I'm going to get up to say this, that we have lots of challenges. Most of these traditions, all of them, are maintained in communities by people of African descent who want to experience freedom and bring beauty and joy to their communities. Unfortunately, most of the funding that comes into the city, over 90%, goes to organizations they believe in a trickle-down theory. So they get like 50,000 and they give the people who maintain culture 100. So one of the things I charge you with is, if you know of philanthropic organizations, that you connect with us, with people who have low barrier. If you give us the money, just make the organization get a checking account. Have faith. I'm giving you a new model. Have faith. If you want to give an organization to support children or whatever, just have them get a Louisiana nonprofit, cost $100, get a checking account, put the money in the account, and when they give you the record of the checking account, they have proven to you they have done what they're supposed to do with the money. I'm putting it out there in the universe because I really think this is an opportunity to shift the way resources come into the community. I see Hollywood. I see Hollywood in the back. I haven't asked him. I haven't asked Asali, anything. But I think if you need a 501c3, Ashe would be willing to, Efforts of Greats would be able to partner. Can I count on you, Hollywood, to make that happen? So with that, I'm going to let Edward, Big Chief, do his thing. All right, y'all.
Yeah. How y'all feeling out there this evening? Well, this morning. Early in the morning, fire go to holler. Indian holler, y'all. From way uptown, from way downtown, they won't turn around. They spy that morning. They flag that morning, say they come without a warning. Spy do the limbo, flag do the limbo. We jump up and down, say they turn all around. Got the golden crown. Indian, let's go get 'em, y'all. Indian, let's go get 'em. Let's go get 'em, y'all. Let's go get 'em. The Indian coming. See wild man running. Let's go get him. Spy boy jumping. Let's go get him. See flag on her way now. Let's go get him. Spy through the signal. Let's go get him. See flag go to Holland. Let's go get him. Flag give it to the Big Chief. See give it to the wild. For the wild on high. And off we leaving. Early in the evening. We are the Indians. We the Indians of a nation.